Good afternoon. Welcome to our Sioux Falls City Council informational meeting. We appreciate those people that are here in attendance and those that might be watching on CityLink or online. Short agenda for our informational meeting and a longer agenda on our Public Services Committee meeting. That meeting will begin 10 minutes approximately after our informational meeting. We will start today's meeting with a staff report from Jim David, our Legislative and Operations Manager. Welcome, Jim.
Good afternoon, Council Chair, City Council. Today's the last day for a bill to pass both houses of the legislature. The remaining 3 days are reserved for conference committees before recessing for 2 weeks. As it now stands, the bill that clarifies Hanson versus Minnehaha County has passed both houses and is still awaiting the governor's signature. If the bill is signed, it would be effective July 1st. The water funding bill, Senate Bill 173, has passed both houses of the legislature overwhelmingly and now awaits the governor's signature. This bill includes a $7.7 million advance for the Lewis and Clark expansion to Madison. Senate Bill 135, the penny for infrastructure bill, was smoked out of committee yesterday and on the House floor. The next hurdle was to place the bill on the House calendar, which required a majority vote. This motion had failed 33-33 with 4 absent. This effectively kills the bill for this session. The highway bill, Senate Bill 1, was approved by House State Affairs yesterday and minutes ago was actually passed on the House floor. I believe that the bill will probably have to go through a conference committee to be reconciled with the Senate version. For additional detail, I've highlighted some of the bill's main points as it stood about an hour ago, so things might have changed on the House floor. Senate Bill 1 creates a local bridge fund improvement grant. This is new. It's available to cities and counties, but counties will only qualify if they have or they pass a wheel tax. This will be awarded by the Transportation Commission. There's an existing local government highway and bridge fund. This fund is used by counties, municipalities, townships to construct, reconstruct, and maintain local streets. What's going to happen with this bill is $7 million is going to be transferred to the local bridge improvement grant from this fund, which is basically 1.75 4 times a year. Some of the taxes and fees that are increasing would be the vehicle excise tax is going to go from 3 to 4%. The gas tax will go up 2% annually until 2017. This is a change from the previous Senate version where it would increase 2 cents up until 2023. So right now the gas tax is at 22 cents, but by 2017 it increased to 28 cents. The non-commercial vehicle license fee would increase by 20%. The wheel tax will go up $1 per wheel. And then there's a new property tax levy that's going to be available to the counties that it's not going to be automatically referred to the voters, but it can be, a voter can refer it. But the levy is based on the county's total valuation. It could range from 60 cents per $1,000 valuation or $1.20 per $1,000 valuation. And looking at both Minnehaha County and Lincoln County, they both would qualify for the 60 cents per $1,000 valuation, since they are greater than $2 billion property valuation. I should point out that this was a change from the Senate version, which would have had a flat $1.20 per $1,000 for any county, regardless of their size. Happy to answer any of your questions.
Questions? Councilor Jameson.
Jim, on that Senate Bill 1, total dollars that it's intended to raise, did you have that number, or is there a number somewhere?
You know, I have not seen those numbers since some of the taxes have changed. Is there a particular one that you're looking at?
In total, I just know there was a kind of maybe a race between the governor's bill and O'Valley's bill.
The governor's bill, as it was originally proposed, the excise tax, or the motor vehicle excise tax, would have raised about $27.2 million, so that's a safe figure with this latest version. The gas tax was expected to raise $13 million, but again, that was going to 2023. So I'm not sure if the $13 million was that first year increase or it was when it reached at 2023. You know, some of these other total amounts I hate to give just because everything has changed since the governor's original version.
Right, fair enough.
Okay.
Well, in Senate Bill 135, I just have to give a kind of a shout out to Yvonne Taylor. As a member of the Municipal League Board, she worked really hard communicating with all of us, with our staff, with hundreds of other people, trying to get us all engaged in the legislation and the process. I think she did a fine job. I hope all of you had a chance to engage and work with her and communicate with her, either your opposition or your support. Either way, if you don't participate in the conversation, you're probably misunderstood on where you stand. So it's important that you do participate. And as well, Jim worked really hard with us and kept us together as we should be in support. So anyway, I just want to give a shout out to Jim and Yvonne. Thank you for your work.
Other questions? I have one, Jim, if you don't mind. The property tax one, can you put that back up?
Yeah.
So that property tax is strictly going to be for roads and bridges, is that correct?
Exactly. Construction, reconstruction, maintaining your streets, your highways, your bridges. So exactly, it's for that particular reason.
I think all of us here are pretty much acutely aware of the dilemma that the county faces with their budgetary issues. But I don't think that roads and bridges are a huge problem in Minnehaha County as far as funding, are they, or am I missing something?
I'm not sure with Minnehaha County, but they do have the option whether or not to levy the tax. So it would be at the county's discretion. If they have a need, they would have that ability.
They do have an issue with bridges right now.
They're behind on with bridges, but I thought that their road budget was pretty flush from what I know, but maybe I'm speaking out of turn there and not aware of everything.
If I could maybe clarify.
Yeah, Councilor Jameson.
Right. If I remember from Minnehaha County, through our UDC board meetings, there was estimated, certainly the roads are in fine shape, and but in order to keep them in that shape, they needed to allocate, I think, $5 million a year for it. But what they are likely to be able to allocate is diminishing every year. So to maintain what they've got to keep funding about $5 million, and instead their projections look to be decreasing. So it was inevitable that they weren't going to be able to keep up, and they needed something.
Okay, so the problem isn't current, but projected, basically.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yep.
Councilor Alfing, did you have something?
Yes, Jim, I'm just wondering what the thinking was, the logic on carving out Lincoln, Minnehaha, probably Pennington, maybe Brown County, although maybe not Brown County. Why carve those out and only allow them?
Yeah, I'm not sure for the reason why they did. I can try to find out what the reason was. It was done in House State Affairs, and honestly, they went through each amendment one after the other, and oftentimes they solicited input, pros and cons, but nobody came forward on many of these. So, but I could find additional information. But again, the final version, the Senate House version, may be completely different. We'll have to see what comes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Jim. Great job. Always fun keeping up with our legislators. I know you coordinate with a few different people, so thank you for keeping us in the loop. We will go to our only presentation of the afternoon. I'm sorry? Oh, thank you. We have open discussion. Thank you very much. Councilor Staggers.
If you don't mind, I'd like to just read a brief part of the city code. It's section 35.056, disclosure of interest. City council members who have a financial interest in any matter pending before the city shall disclose that interest to other members of the city council and shall refrain from further discussion of the matter. Shall not be physically present when the subject is discussed in an executive session and shall not vote on or participate further therein in any matter. I guess the one thing I wanted to maybe emphasize is that in recent years, it doesn't appear that whenever we've had conflict of interest and where we remove ourselves from the city council, we've ever said why. We just kind of leave, and nobody knows what's going on many times. But it says here we have to disclose this to the rest of the council. So in the future, I would hope that, when we do have a conflict of interest, that when we do leave, we physically leave, we say why we're leaving. So, for example, the last city council meeting, I had a conflict of interest in regard to the University of Sioux Falls. And I should have said, I have to leave because of this interest with the University of Sioux Falls. So.
Thank you, Councilor. Comments? Okay. Thank you, Councilor Staggers. Other open discussion? Okay, then. We'll move on. Our first presentation is it's time for annual sculpture walk. And today we have Mike Cooper, Jim Clark, and Russ Sorensen to enlighten us on the sculpture walk. Welcome, Russ.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Russ Sorensen with the City Planning Office. With me is Mike Cooper, the Director of Planning and Building Services, and the Executive Director for Sculpture Walk, Jim Clark. This is the 12th year for Sculpture Walk. And without further ado, I'd like to ask Jim to come forward and present to you the 2015 Sculpture Walk program. Thank you.
Welcome, Jim.
Thank you. Thank you, Russ. Good to be here and see all you counselors today. My 12th time here. I hope I don't look that much older, but I feel it sometimes. I just want to say thank you to Russ and Mike and the Planning Department, because they've just been fantastic to work with over the last 11 years, and look forward to working with them for the next 11. So we've had 555 sculptures go through Sculpture Walk downtown over the last 11 years. Of those 555, we've sold and had commissioned 145 sculptures. We have 17 on lease, and that program is increasing every year. This year we'll probably be in the 25 lease number range. And every year we try to improve every aspect of the program. This year we had 193 entries. We've averaged, in previous years, 140. We made a very concerted effort to attract new artists this year, and so that's evidence of that effort. And for 2015, we'll have 53 artists participating from 20 different states and 2 Canadian provinces, and 18 of those are new. Why don't we go ahead and get started on the sculptures. We always start with number 1 at the in the South Plaza at the Washington Pavilion. All Under Heaven, Gregory Mendez's sculpture. He's from Indiana. Nice tall sculpture. Need a big sculpture for that site. It's 15 feet high. Next one is Inner Gifts, done by J.C. Dellenbaugh. She's from Connecticut. And this sculpture will be in front of Home Federal. I should mention a couple things. The photos that you're seeing are the photos that artists submit with their entries. And also, most of our sites are the same as what they were last year, and we hope our sculptures stay in the same sites as what I'm presenting tonight. But every year they change between now and when they're installed, just for various reasons. The 2 that are coming up have already been changed. Interstate Office Products, Ice Flow. We're moving that to the next site, which is, it fits better in front of the Boyce Law Firm, and this one does. And then the one that's Courtship in this presentation is going to move to First Interstate. So it just fits better. Decision made by the siting committee. And then we go down to 11th and Phillips and head north. This sculpture, Cimarron 2, is in front of the children's store. Wayne Salge, an artist from Colorado, 7 feet high. We have a lot of nice big sculptures this year. And every year I say this is going to be the best year ever, and that's our objective, is to improve the program. I know I say that every year, but I feel confident that that's going to be true this year. Going north in front of the optics store, or the south one of the Carpenter condos, is Learning to Swim, a new artist from Colorado, Jade Wendell. Nice big sculpture again, 58 inches high. When we install sculptures, we have 3 teams, and I work with the forklift team, and we're going to be busy this year. Abraham Lincoln, Jim Maher, South Dakota artist from the Black Hills. We have 8 artists from South Dakota this year. Wonderful sculpture that will be in front of the Carpenter condos. Further north, in front of Mrs. Murphy's Irish Gifts, will be In the Mix, almost 8 feet tall. Bugs, Chris Powell's been in Sculpture Walk just about every year. Native Canadian, lives in Denver. And this sculpture is going to be kinetic, and he does all kinds of fun things with his sculptures. And then on the corner, the southwest corner of 10th and Phillips is Triceratop. The sculpture's on the right. The sketch of the sculpture is on the right. Her actual sculpture in 2014 is on the left. I believe she's a senior now at Millbank High School. And her dad taught her how to do this work. And she is very talented, as you can see. And across the street, on the northwest corner of 10th and Phillips, the Spirit Bear from Dale Pettigrew. Yes, he is a distant relative of Richard and Frank, and they live in Kearney, Nebraska. He and his wife have both participated in Sculpture Walk. This sculpture will be looking at the traffic coming from the east going west on 10th Street. Waiting in Depth, Jacques Frazie's sculpture. He's had some big sculptures in Sculpture Walk. This is his smallest this year. We have 2 sculptures just south of the diner. This is one, and the next one is River Otters by Eric Thorson from Montana. I think they fit well together. And right in front of the diner, Martha Pettigrew's sculpture, Ralph Moose. Nice, whimsical, fun sculpture. And I think it'll be very popular there. Sunday with Jesse. Susan Geisler's had many sculptures in Sculpture Walk, very successful. I think she's sold just about every sculpture she's had here. Hopefully we'll sell this one. And this is towards the fountain, southeast side of it, Sunday with Jesse. I don't know if you can see that the boy's holding an ice cream cone that's dripping, and the dog is licking his face. Here comes the sun, another big tall sculpture that's going on a 4-foot tall pedestal. So this will look like the sun in the sky. Eloisa Altman is from New Jersey. Got to practice first. Lee Looning and Sherry Treby, I'm sure you recognize those names. The Got to practice first is on the north side of the fountain, and this is the clay version of that sculpture. And if you look in the background, Lee lives across from Falls Park West. So this is pictures on the balcony of his apartment. Flourish going north in front of the New Frontier Bank. This is a 6-foot tall sculpture. You're looking at the maquette, smaller version of it, and this will be on a 3-foot tall pedestal. Further north, Punk Swing. It's going to be a very colorful bench type sculpture done by Mitch Brown from the Black Hills. It's going to have a lot of different colors in it. He's going to assemble it on site, so it'll take some time. But the sculpture is 8 feet in height. Across the street, Redstone Grasses, done by Dale Lamphere, a very well-known artist from the Black Hills. Finally talked him into participating. It'll be right in front of Wells Fargo, almost 13 feet high. Then we go over onto Maine, Ancestral Memory by Peter Vogler from British Columbia, Canada, in front of First Dakota National Bank. Further north will be Steel Stallion in front of U.S. Bank. Scott Schlag's son was in Sculpture Walk, or is in Sculpture Walk this year, and he inspired his dad to do a sculpture, and this is his dad's first sculpture. And we thought it was quite deserving to be in Sculpture Walk. Then back over on the Phillips, northwest corner of 8th and Phillips, Macondo, Stephen Mack from Florida, another nice big sculpture. And then we thought the actor was perfect for the Orpheum Theater, D. Clements. He won Best of Show in 2014. And then back over onto Maine, northeast corner of 6th, In Love with the Wind, Serge Mosnevsky, originally from the Ukraine, now lives in Vancouver. And I'm sure he's happy he lives there instead of in the Ukraine. right now. It's a nice big sculpture in front of Fresh Produce. Further north on Main Think Tank, David Scora is a college professor in Connecticut, and he drives his large sculptures out here every year, and loves Sioux Falls, loves Sculpture Walk. This sculpture will be in front of AdWorks. And then on the corner, northeast corner of 5th and Main, will be The Archer by Chris Kilbane. He lives up in northern Minnesota. Love this sculpture, look good there. Now we're coming back over onto Phillips, 7th northeast corner. In front of Click Rain will be Wanderer by Wen Choi. She lives in Philadelphia. And then over onto 8th Street, Persistent Parachutes, Nathan Johansson from Utah, new artist. Big sculpture, fun sculpture that will be on the bike trail going up to the walkway bridge across the river. And then next to it, I think this is a world record size stag beetle. Mike Kimiatek from Wisconsin, new artist, east side of East 8th, north side, just before Reed Street enters onto 8th Street. And then kitty corner across the street is Crisscross, David Scora's second sculpture. Another big sculpture right on the southeast corner of 8th and Reed. Now we go back over onto Phillips, 9th and Phillips. Fond Memories, Christine Knapp, new artist from Colorado. This will be in front of First National Bank. It'll be a nice photo op for kids. Our heritage is our future. Benjamin Victor, South Dakota artist, now moved to Utah. Nice Native American piece. Will stand in front of First Financial Center, on a 4-foot tall pedestal. Dale Lewis, a little story about Dale. His entry that we accepted was a big plane, an airplane, 15 feet long, 17 feet wide. Beautiful sculpture. Really looking forward to it coming. Didn't know where we were going to put it. Actually, it was going to be a bit of a challenge to site it. But he sold it a couple weeks ago to an amusement park, miniature golf course up in Mound, Minnesota. So in place of it, we get the crocodile. And it will go in a big planter right in front of the First Financial Center. So it should scare some people walking by, I think. Further south, we have a couple of smaller sculptures. Lady Harold Link, another new artist. And that will be next to Waiting, Shohini Ghosh, who's been in Sculpture Walk for several years, right next to it. And also, I think another world record is the Rainbow Trout, done by David Turner, which will stand in front of Skelly's. New artist from Virginia. Across the street to the south, Brenna. Donna Jean Main is from Ontario, Canada. Beautiful sculpture. We'll have to set her on a box on top of the pedestal to get her feet out of harm's way. In front of Rayfel's, Bobby Carlisle from Colorado. Her sculpture is Bear Cubs. Spalding will be another photo op for kids done by Heidi Hoy from Minnesota. That will be near Crawford's. And those of you that remember Red Grange, Galloping Ghost, Lawrence Stark, he won People's Choice with the Farmer a couple years ago. This will be in front of Chef Dominique's on a 4-foot tall pedestal. And then on the corner in front of Shriver's will be Robert Brubaker's No Room for Doubt. He is a new artist from Arizona, and this is a cool, whimsical moose. Love him. And then in front of Dakota Bank on the southeast corner of 11th will be Book Peddlers by Jack Morford, another new artist from Utah. And just south a little bit by the Dakota Bank drive-up will be York Canopy, Trenton Baylor, another new artist. This is going to be a really cool piece. He does nice work. And big again. And Big Easy, Yosemite Obaziz. I'm sure you recognize his work. He's been in Sculpture Walk for several years. Originally from Nigeria, lives in California. And I love this sax player. It's going to be right in front of Haskett's restaurant. And we get two sculptures from Teresa Lind. She's a college professor in Wisconsin. Generosity of Creativity. Now, these are both about 5 feet high. Northeast corner of 12th and Phillips in front of Bro Brothers Restaurant. And they go together like they're on the red carpet. Portal, another sighting challenge as big as it is and as wide as it is, and we got to get it out of harm's way. We don't want people climbing on it. So we're going to put two pedestals together. They're both almost exactly 49 inches high. We're going to put them together because it's that wide, but we wanted to elevate it. And we want to get all of our sculptures in perfect sights form so that we do our job right for our artists and for the public. So this one will be in front of the federal building. And I think just trying to vision it, probably pointing straight west out of there so everybody get a good view, a 360 view of it. Tommy's a new artist from Iowa. Final Fandango on the northeast corner of 13th and Phillips. Sean Moran is a college professor in Ohio, and he's had several sculptures in Sculpture Walk, and this will be to the entrance to Sculpture Walk, south entrance. And then across the street will be Sally Juergensmeyer's Roust here. She is from Nebraska, northeast corner of 13th and Phillips on a big concrete pad. Embrace, Lance Carlton is from Washington. This sculpture will be in the planter at 12th and Phillips. Neil Wiffle, a new artist from Indiana. His sculpture is Ruin. It will be in front of Bechtel Jewelry. Final Warrior, Tom Ford, new artist from Wyoming, will be in front of Meyer Henry Sargent Law Firm. And Gary Monaco, Mystic Warriors, will be in front of C.H. Patisserie, the French dessert restaurant. And the last one, Raven, Joshua Spenlove, new artist from Utah, in front of Minerva's. And then we have some alternates. Storytellers, Gary Monaco. Ben Hammond, Generations. Prairie Ship, Greg Mueller, big sculpture. Raven by Gary Monaco. So we have to have some big ones and some small ones. Whenever we lose one, it's inevitable. We have to move 3 sculptures around to make it all work. On Top of the World by Richard Poe from the Twin Cities. Greenpeace, Nathan Pierce from Missouri. Child's Play Revisited, Sean Moran's sculpture. Homage to Otto, Stephen Mack. Saturnian, another huge sculpture. Another one of Stephen's sculptures. Influences, Hector Ortega from, I think he's from Arizona. And Jack, Heidi Hoy's sculpture. And those are the sculptures for Sculpture Walk 2015.
Thank you very much, Jim. Okay, question, how many, when you say alternates, how many of those alternates are actually displayed?
Well, we hope that all the 55 top choices stay in Sculpture Walk, but like what happened with the airplane, some can get sold between now and when we install.
No.
Or an artist gets sick and decides that he can't come, or for whatever reason, too far to come, makes a last-minute decision, then we have to get busy and get alternates to replace them, which we've done quite a few years.
Okay. Yep. Thank you. And this will be a resolution before us at which meeting? Is it next week? Next week. Okay. Council questions. Councilor Erpenbach.
Thanks, Jim. This is always fun to watch. My question is, you said for several of these folks, you said they're new artists. I assume that means they're new to us.
Yes.
That they're not, this is their first go-round.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. It's fun to see new folks participating in this, so thanks.
Councilor Jameson.
Jim, thanks again for all your efforts and work, and Russ and Mike, thank you too. I know a lot of people who brag about the Sculpture Walk, and it's a great thing. So keep up the good work. Question though about the Arc of Dreams. What is that? Is it Arch or
Arc of Dreams.
Are you a part of that? Are you
Yes.
involved? Do you have any update for us that you could share? That
Well, our fundraising goal is $950,000. We're at 680,000 pledged, and we haven't started the public campaign yet, which we're looking at May, I think, for that. So moving along, Dale Lamphere is the artist.
the location again? Tell us where that.
South of Sharapa Place and south of Raven Industries. north of the walkway bridge across the river.
And the timeline expected or hopeful, was there a time that there was?
Well, we were first planning to install it in 2016, but Dale Lamfer, I don't know if you saw it in the news, we got a huge commission piece for a Native American piece near Chamberlain, and with installation in 2015. So he's busy doing that. That was commissioned by somebody out of Rapid City. So that's a huge sculpture. I think it's 45 feet tall, and so he's busy working on that. So if we don't get it in 2016, it'll be 2017.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Councilor Anderson.
Jim, I want to just say thank you for helping beautify our downtown year in and year out. It's amazing every time you come to us with this, the different sculptures and everything, and the new people that are coming in. Everything you said, what was it, about 10 years ago or so, that you started 12 years ago that you started doing this, you said that more and more people would look at this. And every time I go downtown, I see people looking at the different sculptures. It doesn't even matter what time of the year it is or anything. But one thing that did catch me on this, you mentioned how many different college professors were in this. And I was thinking that we might have one that might think about it too.
I don't think that's going to happen.
That's possible.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah. Thank you, Councilor. And I just want to also say thanks to all our volunteers, our team members that rise to the occasion to make it happen, even in rain or snow. We've had both.
Councilor Staggers, to opportunity for rebuttal.
Well, can we have a program here in Sioux Falls with books and things like that?
Well, you know, a lot of our People's Choice have been kids reading books. I don't know if you've noticed that. A lot of the People's Choice sculptures have been kids reading books.
Oh, okay.
Council, any other questions? Councilor Kiley.
I would just like to say, on behalf of the artists, as a father of an artist, I know that it's often difficult for them to show their pieces, and this is a great opportunity for artists around the country to use our city as their gallery. So thank you very much. Job well done.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you again, Jim. I believe that wraps up our informational meeting. No more presentations. We will adjourn for about 10 minutes, and we'll just say our Public Service Committee meeting will start at 4:45. Meeting adjourned.